lot of which were blocked out by the mainstream media. But of course, we had the help of all the online portals here who, put our voice forward to the people on their portals. And I think we can see at the end of the day, people look for information. If they look at the mainstream media and the mainstream media do not pick up or report on issues which are at the heart of the people, then the people are going to look elsewhere. And today, whether you like it or not, the media is everywhere. So if it does not come out on the mainstream media, it will be picked up by the online portals as well. So this is the kind of thing that we got to be looking at. I think what needs to be said is, saya akan sokong laporan-laporan yang relevan kepada isu-isu semasa, di mana laporan-laporan itu ada kepentingan media dia. In other words, they are useful to the viewers. So there is no hard and fast rule yang berkenaan dengan if it's opposition, don't report it. Saya kerap kali kata bahawa suara pembangkang juga sangat penting untuk kita membina satu cara pemikiran yang matang. Ya, kita kena lihat kepada dan dengar apa yang dibawa oleh semua pihak, tidak kira kerajaan ataupun pihak pembangkang. Dan saya rasa kita juga perlu menegakkan polisi di mana media itu seharusnya dilihat sebagai suara rakyat dan suara the fourth force in which they are responsible for bringing to the government of the day weaknesses that exist so that we can actually improve on ourselves. So dari segi kritikan, criticism is welcome, and of course I think that's the kind of policy that I would like to see in place. I'll be taking this up with Cabinet on Wednesday as well, and hopefully we can announce or make further announcements after that. Okay, so that's the policy that I think we should actually work on in news reporting from today onwards.
When do you expect the anti-fake news law to be scrapped?
Saya sebut tadi, saya dalam proses sekarang menyediakan dokumen-dokumen yang perlu. Kita juga perlu dapat pandangan daripada Jabatan Peguam Negara dan semua pihak yang terlibat. Selepas daripada itu, memandangkan Parlimen akan bersidang pada 25 hari bulan Jun. Ini hanya beberapa hari lagi, dalam 3 minggu, 4 minggu. Saya tak pasti sama ada ataupun tidak kita boleh siapkan semua keperluan-keperluan dari segi keperluan-keperluan Parlimen. Yeah? So it is a process and we have to table a bill in Parliament. So hopefully I can do it in this session. If I can't do it in this session, then definitely in the next session we will do it. No, we will be repealing it. We will be repealing it, but I think bila kita mengubal undang-undang untuk menarik balik undang-undang terdahulu, kita perlu lihat kepada beberapa faktor-faktor tertentu. Misalnya, undang-undang itu adalah undang-undang yang sedang berkuat kuasa. Kita kena lihat kepada 3 jenis keadaan. Satu, sama ada ataupun tidak, ada orang yang telah pun ditangkap dan sedang disiasat di bawah undang-undang tersebut. So what happens to the investigations? Kedua, sekiranya seseorang itu telah pun dituduh di bawah undang-undang itu, what will happen to that? And the third sector is in respect of sekiranya undang-undang ini tidak terpakai, sama ada ataupun tidak, undang-undang lain yang sedia ada boleh dipakai semula untuk kes-kes ini. So there are various areas that we have to look at, and I think the bill that we produce in Parliament, in terms of savings and transition, we always have that provision at the end. That has to be made quite clear. The process, let me just correct that a bit, sorry, but when you say process, the process of putting it in Parliament or the process of preparing the bill? Everything. I think it will take at least 2 to 3 months. Yeah, but we are already working on it. And I will update the press on this regularly, every 2 weeks or so. I'll tell you all exactly where we stand and what we propose to do.
But don't you think that's a very short period of time?
It is. But as I said earlier, this is not. Ini bukan keadaan di mana kita akan meminda ataupun kita akan membentangkan undang-undang baru. Ini adalah satu bil untuk kita tarik balik satu undang-undang yang sudah sedia ada. So it's basically a repealing act. It's a lot more straightforward than us putting forward another bill which deals with media freedom and all that. That is something which we will do later. Kita akan memang lihat kembali kepada semua undang-undang yang sedia ada dan kita akan kaji semula peruntukan-peruntukan itu. Yes, BFM.
Wondering, Bernama's status, it was a statutory body at one time, and then it became a department under your ministry. So I'm just curious to know if you could just shed some light on its status now. What is, in order for it to ensure some form of impartiality?
I think that is something that has to be considered later. The fact remains that it's a statutory body. It remains that way. But of course, like the other media concerns that you have, it comes under my ministry. But that is, I think, a secondary issue. To me, moving forward, that is not something that needs to be addressed now, because independence and the kind of content that you choose to report does not pinch on matters like that. I still think that at the end of the day, given the setup that currently exists, they being a statutory body and also under my ministry, I still think that at the end of the day, the policy allows, which is something I support, then they can report or they can write reports on a broader basis than before. You know, so you got to free ourselves from the government of the past.
Also, sir, you talked about this morning. You talked about rebranding RTM, and
yes,
presumably you're rebranding Bernama as well. And Bernama depends on government grants.
Yes.
How do you see the funding
Yep.
change?
Itu memang satu perkara yang besar. Kepada saya telah pun bincang dengan pihak RTM dan saya juga telah bincang dengan pihak Bernama. Banyak cara yang kita boleh bawa cadangan untuk kita perbaiki wajah RTM dan sebagainya. Tetapi ini akan memerlukan kos. Tetapi dari segi kos, we have to look at how it is we can restructure these organizations to see how much we can save in various sectors, and then of course if there's a balance for us to make necessary applications to Ministry of Finance and so forth. Malaysia kini. Yeah.
With regards to the laws that you will be reviewing, what are your plans with regards to Section 233 of the CMA?
Yeah, I've issued a it's not me. Okay. Saya telah pun buat kenyataan semalam bahawa satu undang-undang yang kita sedang kaji semula adalah CMA, dan di situ memang Section 233 juga dikaji. Ada banyak aduan yang dibawa berkenaan dengan bagaimana sekarang pihak SKMM membuat siasatan dan sebagainya. So that is one angle that we'll be looking at, whether or not we can try and how do I put this? Whether or not we can try and be more specific in what becomes an offence, what the powers of SKMM are, and of course what the process leading to certain instances, for example, blocking of sites, suspending certain sites and so forth, can be followed. That's the reason why I said I've also called for a report in respect of the blocking or the suspending of certain online portals on election night, polling night, which includes Malaysia Kini. So once I get the report, then I will be able to hold a press conference and explain that to you in more detail.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, you all are looking at tweaking some of the civil and criminal laws to make it relevant. What do you mean by that?
Yes, kita ada peruntukan misalnya dalam, of course, civil, we have defamatory laws and so forth, in which, there are certain defences that are available to persons when sued for defamation. So you got things like, sometimes reporters go under defences of privilege, and that particular area of law has developed. In common law, you now have new defences that have come up, taking into account, in particular, how fast reports move these days with the internet and so forth. So you got Reynolds defense and things like that. So we are looking at all those in respect of the civil laws. In respect of criminal laws, you got the penal code, for example, criminal defamation and so forth. So these are also angles which we are looking at. Number one, whether it's still necessary to have them. Number two, if we still have them, to what extent we can tweak them so that the scope of the offence can be made a lot clearer, and also in terms of whether or not we have to set up a new bill altogether which deals with reporting and offences. That is also something that my ministry is considering. But these are all too technical and too detailed. I'm not going to go into it now, because if I go into it now, I don't think any of you are going to understand it, because it's not easy to grasp. But let us get a framework. Once the framework is up, then I'll start talking to you all. But if you look back at our manifesto, we have actually set out a list of laws that we are going to look at and repeal. I think it's all there. If not mistaken, paragraph 62 or 63. Look at that.
Any updates on the bot attacks on politicians' phones?
I've asked for a full report on that. I don't think it's only politicians' phones. A lot of other people have complained. I'm sure all of you all here had the same problem as well. So it's not just what you call politicians' phones. Now, saya nak sebut di sini bahawa serangan bot ini adalah satu perkara yang sangat penting. Pada pagi 9 hari bulan Mei 2018, ramai daripada kita bangun bila kita lihat kepada telefon bimbit kita, kita dapati bahawa kita sudah ada 200 atau 300 missed calls. Kemudian kita dapati bahawa setiap saat, 10 saat, 20 saat kita ada call yang datang. I think ramai daripada kita, pertama kita tak tahu apa yang berlaku. Kedua, kita tak tahu apa yang kita perlu lakukan untuk kita atasi masalah itu. So kita kena faham bahawa there was general what you call alarm among most people because you do not know how to deal with it. So ini adalah satu sebab di atas mana saya telah pun bagi tahu kepada MC. Saya rasa ini adalah satu perkara yang kita kena jelaskan kepada rakyat. Kita kena bagi tahu kepada rakyat apa sebenarnya berlaku. Kemudian kita juga kena bagi tahu kepada rakyat apakah yang seharusnya dibuat dalam keadaan sekiranya ianya berlaku sekali lagi. Ada ramai yang juga tanya kepada saya, itu yang berlaku hanya untuk sehari. So for one day, all of us had problems using our handphones. Now what happens if it goes on for a week? Ada ramai yang menggunakan handphone ini untuk business mereka. A lot of people rely on their handphones to run their businesses. So what happens if it goes on for a week? What happens if it goes on for 2 weeks? What do you do? So I think this is where people like MC have to come up. They have to start talking to people, telling people that these are the challenges that we face these days and that we should be prepared for the next attack. Ini bukan satu perkara yang hanya berlaku di Malaysia. Kalau kita lihat, saya difahamkan ianya telah pun berlaku di Amerika juga. So saya telah minta kepada kementerian saya, so look into that. Can we resolve it? If we cannot resolve it, then what are the next steps forward? I think this is something that everybody, has a right to know about, and that's something that I'm going to, when the report is ready, I'll hold a press conference to explain, and I'll get my officers to come and explain as well sebenarnya apa yang berlaku, and sekiranya berlaku lagi apa yang kita seharusnya lakukan untuk mengatasinya. Yeah?
Based on your understanding so far, this bot attack comes from outside the country or inside the country?
There are instances where I have seen, mostly for now, outside the country. Which country, we are not sure, but there is ada keadaan dia di mana ianya goes through 2 or 3 different countries as well. So it's not necessarily one country.
But particularly we are talking about the bot attack on the election day, right?
That's the one, on the 9th of May 2018.
Yeah, but coming from outside the country.
So far, from the material that I've got, I understand it to be that way, but I am not going to commit to that yet until I see the full report. Yeah.
Under PN government, the Ministry of Communications said they will switch off the analog TV service.
Yes.
So will the ministry continue to execute this plan?
Yeah, that is a very big aspect. I'm going to ask you all to hold on to that first. You see, I've got to explain there are timelines that have been set for certain things to be done. In order for those things to be done, you're talking about spectrum and things like that. I'm going to hold a separate press conference on that. My officers will be there to explain. Maybe next week we will talk about that. But that's definitely something that I'm looking at. I've been briefed on it, but the briefing has only told me what has happened to date. But what I want is for them to explain to me what the timelines are and what will happen after that so that we can explain to people. Once I've got all that before me, then I'll hold a press conference and we'll answer questions on that. Okay, I'm working on that. Yes.
They receive funding from the government, but they're independent. So in the long run, are you looking at the same method for Penang?
I'm looking at, we are looking at something like that. I propose to set up a media council first and take views from different people who are knowledgeable in the industry to find out how it is we can establish the best form of independence for media reporting. Sometimes if you rely on funds from the government of the day, then of course one would argue that there is a problem because you do not want to lose those funds, so the reports will be framed in a certain way. But then again, I think there can be instances in which we can devise formulae by which that kind of a threat doesn't exist anymore. So let me set up the media council. Once the media council is up, then we'll approach those angles.
Other mainstream medias like TV3 and NSTP and under the previous administration, are there any plans to switch
I am going to meet up with all news agencies. I'm going to see them individually, and I'm going to talk to them, and let's see what their views are. I think we need to revamp a lot of things. We need to start, you really need to revolutionize the whole industry because things have moved very fast. And I think if we do not do something immediately and we wait for another 10 years, then I think we're going to be left very far behind. But I think we need to speak to everybody and get what they call views before we decide what to do to move forward.
So in order to revamp Bernama and also RTM, how much funding have you
Now, we've not looked into that yet. Before I go into that, I need to speak to them in order to find out what it is they can do. Sometimes you can restructure a particular organization, which will in itself reduce costs, which leaves you what you call with additional funds to spend. So if that be the case, then what you will ask for is going to be less than what you would ordinarily ask for. So it's a bit complicated, but we will explain that later. Yeah. Dato' Sri? Oh, no, okay.
Just now you mentioned about suara pembangkang is also very important.
Sorry?
Suara pembangkang is
Yes.
also very
Yes.
important. So how do you see the balance should be in terms of reporting for the pembangkang these days?
That is what I said earlier. I think we have to start looking at it from a question of media value. You've got to understand that issues that exist, issues that are contemporary, there need to be a discussion on those issues. So, for example, if there's an issue that is close to the heart of the people, then we should have, there should be discourse. What the government has to say about those issues, and of course, if the opposition comes up with their points of view, I think those points of view should be published as well. But what is important is for both sides to be given an opportunity to reply, and ultimately for the people to make a decision as to what it is they choose to believe or otherwise. So that is what I think balanced reporting is. And I don't think you can run away from it, because if the mainstream media doesn't report it, other online portals are going to report it anyway. So I think this is where we should understand that you either keep up with the times or you get left behind.
Everyone, what will happen to those contract workers under your ministry?
We have contract workers, or which specific? The contract workers are still there.
Okay, so do you have any plans to macam serapkan them into your ministry, or
Are you talking about jasa? Are you talking?
about those contract workers which is under your ministry, and whether it is political or just contract workers?
Well, that's a broad area. There are some political appointees. I have told these people to decide. Okay, let me put it this way: the political appointees know who they are. The question is whether or not they can work with the current government. If they can work with the current government, then I'm prepared to consider them. But there are some of them who can't, so they will have to be removed. But if you talk about contractual workers and when you close down departments and so forth, my position is that we will try and absorb as many workers as we can so that we not create an unease, a situation of unease there. So we will work on that, but give me some time. I have spent a lot of time going around and visiting all of the agencies like I am here today. So I do not spend much time in the ministry except for afternoons. Like so today I'll be there again. So I need to sit and talk to people and understand things on a different level before I can make that decision. But as I said earlier, insofar as I can, if I can avoid laying people off, I will do that. I will try and absorb them into the ministry as far as I can so that we can move on. Yes.
So will the Harapan government open up the opportunities to let more companies to set up TV station or even
Yeah,
radio station?
one of the things that we are looking at, but there are considerations that we need to look at before that can be done. That will be something that I'll announce later as well. But there's something that we are definitely looking at, something that I've spoken to various sectors about. That was the last question. Sila. There's a last question.
Semalam YB
I-
Presiden PAS Hadi Anwar ada mengatakan dia bersetuju untuk meneruskan akta disiplin tidak benar. Itu YB bimbangkan sikit.
Itu pandangan dia. Tapi as far as we are concerned, our manifesto is very clear. Our election pledges to the people are very clear. We have stated in no uncertain terms that we will repeal the act, and we will deliver on that. Tetapi seperti mana saya sebut tadi, kita perlu melihat kepada memperkukuhkan undang-undang lain supaya kita boleh pastikan bahawa walaupun ada kebebasan bersuara, kebebasan media, tetapi dalam masa yang sama kita ada had-had yang tertentu dan hak-hak pihak-pihak yang berkaitan dapat dilindungi. Ya.
Okay, I have a very last question.
Last.
About World Cup. So, may I know what is the cost for RTM to?
I am not at liberty to state that. I don't think I will want to state that. But if and when a decision is made, all the details will be given to you all. Okay.
All matches.
All matches.